Greetings, friends. This week in the Pastorgram, I like to draw your attention to our Bearing the Beams of Love program, which you can find on our website, the icon of Mary Magdalene, and it's easy to find. And if you've been reading our bulletin since September, we've been presenting the letters that are in this program. There's 30 in all. I think we're up to about letter 22 this week. And the program is broken up into three sections. Number one, foundations, which is chapters 1 through 7, where we talk a little bit about how we should even proceed when we talk about Catholic moral teaching. Okay, so the fundamental idea is that we have to learn how to have the mind of Christ. How does Christ think? And Paul says that we can have the mind of Christ. We have to have the compassion of Christ, because in a lot of ways, compassion is lacking when it comes to moral issues, moral failure, and so on and so forth. But then we have to have the obedience of Christ, because Christ calls us to a radical obedience. So the first 7 chapters talks about these fundamental things, and some of the challenges of how to be able to think like Christ, have the compassion of Christ, and having the obedience of Christ. Now, the second section before I go into the second section, I need to tell you about each one of these letters. Each one's like a tip on an iceberg, okay? Because if you scroll through it, you'll notice that there's a hungry for more section. And in the hungry for more section, we go deeper into the issue, right? And we also have a podcast. And then, we have a section, each one on moral authority. On what basis can we even be saying and talking about what we're talking about? There's often a story making the connection where it brings to life these otherwise possibly otherwise hard things to connect with and to think through. The story helps us to see how it works in life. And then there's a further reading with annotated bibliography. With annotated means that the source is cited, and then there's a brief description so that you can scroll through that. And then there's the next steps. Okay, where do we go from here? Okay, so each one of these letters has a lot behind them. Okay, and the letters are designed so that we can fairly easily move through these topics, as we have been doing in our my letters in the bulletin. Okay, now the second section or part 2 has got to do with vocations to the married life, vocations to the religious life, vocation to the single life, all those things that are involved in that, right? And that is takes us from letters 8 to 21. And what we do is we really, the big sources there for us is Pope John Paul II's theology of the body, and a lot of his work on this, because he wrote a splendid anthropology. Okay, not easy to read. So what we do is we try to make it so that it's approachable for you. Now, last week and this week we started a whole third section, which is the last section, letters 21 through 30, and at this point, we get into some of the very difficult issues of same sex attraction and gender dysphoria. Um, and again, we want to walk through these very complex issues with the mind of Christ, the compassion of Christ, and the obedience of Christ. So these are, I know, hot button issues, but and I should say, if you just pick up and started reading one of these letters in the later parts without really having walked through all the other ones leading up to it, then then there could be problems, okay, because you're not really familiar with the presuppositions, or not, I shouldn't say presuppositions, but the building blocks that have gotten us to that place. Okay, so I would encourage you to go into this program. It's really a product of a team that's been working on this and making it so much bigger and better and more wonderful than I could ever possibly do on my own. So this is a team of a leadership team in the church, and a lot of thought and prayer, blood, sweat, and tears have gone into this thing over the last 4 years, and it's really because we really have to address these issues in the church. We really do, and we have to know what the church says and why she says it, right? And to be like Christ in the whole thing. So, God bless you. Goodbye. See you on Sunday.